What if I revealed to you that dormant within your very core lies an energy so primordial it predates civilizations, so potent it can literally restructure your reality? This isn't metaphorical language or wishful thinking. This is a force that ancient masters spent lifetimes learning to harness. A power that modern science is only beginning to glimpse through quantum physics and consciousness research. You possess within you right now the same creative force that sparked galaxies into existence, that breathes life into every cell, that turns pure potential into manifest reality. The ancients called it by many names. The Egyptians knew it as Ka, the life force that bridges mortal flesh with divine consciousness. The Indians recognized it as Shakti, the primordial feminine power that animates all creation. Chinese masters called it Jing, the essential energy that, when properly cultivated, grants extraordinary longevity and spiritual attainment. Today, we know this force as sexual energy. But make no mistake, this is far more than what you've been conditioned to believe. Sexual energy is creation energy. It's the raw material from which universes are born, the fuel that powers manifestation itself. For thousands of years, this knowledge was carefully guarded, passed down only to initiates who had proven themselves worthy of such profound wisdom. Mystery schools from Egypt to Tibet, from Greece to Peru, all recognized that sexual energy properly transmuted becomes the master key to unlocking human potential. Those who learned these secrets didn't just improve their lives, they transcended the ordinary limitations of human existence entirely. But here's what's extraordinary about this moment in history. These ancient secrets are no longer hidden. The veil is lifting. The teachings that once required decades of preparation and initiation are becoming available to anyone with the courage to receive them. You're living in an unprecedented time when humanity is ready to reclaim its birthright of conscious creation. Today, we're going to explore the deepest mysteries of sexual alchemy, not as abstract philosophy, but as practical wisdom you can begin applying immediately. We'll journey through the hidden chambers of ancient temples, decode the symbolic language of master alchemists, and most importantly, learn how to awaken and direct this incredible force within yourself. Prepare yourself for revelations that will fundamentally shift how you understand your body, your consciousness, and your power to shape reality. This isn't just information. It's initiation into a way of being that transforms every aspect of your existence. To understand sexual alchemy, we must first journey back through the mists of time to civilizations that possessed knowledge we're only now beginning to rediscover. These weren't primitive cultures stumbling through spiritual darkness. They were sophisticated societies that understood the fundamental mechanics of consciousness and creation in ways that surpass much of our modern understanding. In ancient Egypt, the mystery schools of Karnak and Dendera taught that sexual energy was the bridge between the mortal and divine realms. The hieroglyphic texts speak of Ka, the vital essence that, when properly cultivated, allows consciousness to transcend physical death itself. Egyptian initiates learned to circulate this energy through specific pathways in the body, creating what they called the solar body, a refined energetic vehicle capable of conscious existence beyond physical form. The temple practices weren't merely symbolic rituals, they were precise technologies of consciousness transformation. High priests and priestesses understood that sexual union, when performed with sacred intention and proper technique, could literally open doorways to higher dimensions of awareness. The story of Isis reassembling Osiris wasn't mythology. It was an encoded instruction manual for reassembling the fragmented aspects of human consciousness through sexual alchemy. Across the ancient world in India, the tantric masters developed perhaps the most sophisticated understanding of sexual energy ever recorded. Tantra, which literally means technology or technique, provided detailed maps of how consciousness moves through the human energy system. They identified 72,000 subtle energy channels, called nadis, with 3 primary channels governing the flow of what they called Shakti, the divine feminine creative force. The tantric understanding goes far beyond technique. They recognized that sexual energy exists on multiple octaves simultaneously. At its densest level, it drives physical reproduction. At subtler levels, it fuels creativity, intuition, and artistic expression. At its most refined, it becomes the force that awakens what they called Kundalini, the serpent power that, when aroused, travels up the spine, activating dormant areas of consciousness and granting abilities that most consider supernatural. In ancient China, Taoist masters developed elaborate systems for what they called internal alchemy. They understood that sexual essence, or jing, when conserved and circulated through specific meditation practices, could literally reverse the aging process and extend life far beyond normal human spans. Historical records speak of Taoist immortals who lived for centuries, maintaining youthful vitality through mastery of these practices. The microcosmic orbit, a fundamental Taoist practice, involves circulating sexual energy up the spine to the crown of the head, then down the front of the body back to the lower energy center. This circulation, when perfected, creates what they called the pearl of immortality, a crystallized essence of consciousness that survives physical death. Even in medieval Europe, this knowledge survived in carefully disguised forms. The alchemical texts that speak of transmuting base metals into gold were actually coded instructions for transmuting base desires into spiritual gold. The marriage of the Red King and White Queen, the union of sulfur and mercury, the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, all of these were symbolic representations of sexual alchemical processes. The Knights Templar, the Cathars, various Hermetic orders, all preserved fragments of this ancient wisdom, often at the cost of their lives. The Inquisition's persecution of these groups wasn't primarily about religious heresy. It was about suppressing knowledge that could liberate humanity from systems of external control. What unites all these traditions is a revolutionary understanding. Sexual energy is not separate from spiritual energy. It is spiritual energy in its most concentrated, potent form. When this energy is consciously directed rather than unconsciously dissipated, it becomes the fuel for extraordinary states of consciousness, remarkable healing abilities, and most relevant to our purposes today, the power to manifest desires with unprecedented speed and precision. Now that we've glimpsed the historical depth of this knowledge, let's examine what sexual energy actually is from both ancient wisdom and modern scientific perspectives. This understanding is crucial because most people have been conditioned to see sexual energy through an extremely limited lens, as merely a biological drive for reproduction or physical pleasure. Sexual energy is life force in its most concentrated form. Think of it this way. Every human being begins as the union of two cells containing the concentrated essence of their parents' entire genetic and energetic inheritance. That moment of conception represents the focusing of universal creative force into individual form. The energy that creates human life is the same energy that creates stars, galaxies, and entire universes. Modern physics tells us that everything in existence is ultimately energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Matter itself is simply energy slowed down enough to appear solid to our limited perceptions. Sexual energy represents the highest vibration of life force accessible to human consciousness, which is why it possesses such extraordinary transformative potential. When we experience sexual arousal, we're not just having a physical reaction. We're accessing a state of consciousness where the boundaries between self and other, between desire and fulfillment, begin to dissolve. We're approaching the edge of unity consciousness, the state from which all creation emerges. Ancient masters understood that this edge state could be consciously navigated and extended, transforming momentary pleasure into sustained states of expanded awareness. But here's where most people get lost. They dissipate this powerful energy through unconscious release, missing the opportunity for transformation entirely. It's like having access to rocket fuel, but using it to light cigarettes. Sexual energy, when consciously retained and circulated, becomes the fuel for remarkable experiences of expanded consciousness, extraordinary creativity, and accelerated manifestation. The key insight is that sexual energy responds to consciousness. Where you place your attention during states of arousal literally determines how this energy moves through your system. Most people's attention gets fixated on physical sensations and mental fantasies, which keeps the energy locked in the lower energy centers. But when attention is consciously directed upward through the body's energy centers, the same arousal energy begins to activate dormant areas of consciousness. This is why every authentic spiritual tradition has developed practices for working with sexual energy. They recognize that this force, when properly understood and directed, provides the fastest and most powerful path to expanded consciousness available to human beings. Consider this profound truth. Every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, every moment of profound love or compassion, every experience of transcendent beauty, all of these emerge from the same creative force that expresses itself through sexuality. The difference lies not in the energy itself, but in how consciously we direct it. Sexual alchemy teaches us to become conscious artists of our own life force. Instead of being unconscious consumers of pleasure, we become skilled conductors of the most powerful creative energy in existence. This shift in relationship to sexual energy literally transforms everything. Our relationships, our creativity, our health, our capacity to manifest our deepest desires. While ancient wisdom provides the foundation for understanding sexual alchemy, modern science is beginning to validate many of these teachings through research in neuroscience, endocrinology, and quantum physics. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern knowledge provides us with unprecedented insight into how sexual energy transmutation actually works. From a neurological perspective, sexual arousal activates multiple brain regions simultaneously. The limbic system, responsible for emotion and motivation, becomes highly active. The prefrontal cortex, governing executive function and decision-making, can either become suppressed, leading to impulsive behavior, or enhanced when the energy is consciously directed. Most significantly, states of sexual arousal activate the same brain regions associated with mystical experiences, creativity, and expanded consciousness. Dr. Barry Komisaruk's research at Rutgers University has shown that during states of sexual arousal and orgasm, brain activity spreads across multiple regions in patterns remarkably similar to those observed during deep meditation, creative flow states, and even psychedelic experiences. This provides scientific validation for what tantric masters have taught for millennia. Sexual energy and spiritual energy are not separate phenomena. The endocrine system also plays a crucial role in sexual alchemy. Sexual arousal triggers the release of numerous hormones and neurotransmitters, including dopamine, oxytocin, prolactin, and various endorphins. When sexual energy is retained rather than released, these chemicals continue to circulate through the system, creating sustained states of well-being, enhanced creativity, and increased mental clarity. Of particular interest is the hormone DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone, often called the youth hormone. DHEA production is directly linked to sexual energy levels and declines significantly with age. Practices that conserve and circulate sexual energy have been shown to maintain DHEA levels, potentially explaining the remarkable longevity and vitality reported by practitioners of sexual alchemy throughout history. The concept of bioelectricity provides another scientific lens for understanding sexual energy. The human body generates measurable electrical fields, and sexual arousal significantly amplifies this electrical activity. This bioelectric energy follows pathways that correspond remarkably closely to the energy channels, nadis, meridians, described in various traditional systems. Dr. Hiroshi Motoyama's research has demonstrated that accomplished meditators and energy workers show measurably different bioelectric patterns, with enhanced coherence and circulation of electrical activity throughout the body. This provides empirical support for the idea that consciousness can direct the flow of life force energy. Perhaps most intriguingly, quantum physics offers insights into how consciousness interacts with reality at the most fundamental level. The observer effect demonstrates that consciousness plays a role in determining physical reality. Sexual energy, representing consciousness in its most concentrated and powerful form, may literally influence the quantum field in ways that affect probability and manifestation. Dr. Dean Radin's research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has shown that states of high emotional arousal, including sexual arousal, correlate with increased influence on random number generators and other quantum-based systems. This suggests that sexual energy, properly directed, may indeed have the power to influence reality at the quantum level. The implications are profound. Sexual alchemy isn't just about personal transformation or even manifestation. It's about learning to consciously participate in the fundamental creative processes of the universe itself. We're not just working with biological energy. We're learning to direct the same force that shapes reality at its most basic level. Understanding the theory behind sexual alchemy is fascinating, but transformation happens through practice. The techniques I'm about to share have been refined over thousands of years and tested by countless practitioners. They represent practical methods for awakening, conserving, and directing sexual energy toward higher purposes. The foundation of all sexual alchemy practices is developing sensitivity to subtle energy. Most people are only aware of sexual energy when it reaches the level of obvious physical arousal. But sexual energy is actually flowing through your system constantly at subtler levels. Learning to perceive and work with these subtler energies is essential for effective practice. Begin by establishing a daily practice of inner attention. Spend at least 10 minutes each morning sitting quietly and focusing on the area about 3 inches below your navel. This is the location of what Taoists call the lower dantian, the primary reservoir of life force energy in the body. Simply breathe naturally and maintain gentle attention on this area. Initially, you might not feel anything distinct. This is normal. You're developing sensitivity to energies that have been largely ignored by most people throughout their lives. With consistent practice, you'll begin to notice subtle sensations: warmth, tingling, a sense of fullness or movement. These are early indications that you're beginning to perceive your own life force directly. Once you can consistently feel energy in the lower dantian, begin practicing basic energy circulation. The most fundamental technique is the microcosmic orbit, which involves circulating energy up the back of the body to the crown of the head, then down the front to the lower abdomen. This creates a complete circuit that strengthens and balances your entire energy system. To practice the microcosmic orbit, sit comfortably with your spine straight. Focus attention on your lower dantian and breathe naturally until you feel some accumulation of energy there. Then, using your intention and attention, guide the energy up your spine. Don't force it. Use gentle mental direction, like you're guiding a stream of warm honey upward. When the energy reaches the crown of your head, pause briefly. Then guide it down the front of your body, back to the lower dantian. Complete this circulation slowly, taking several minutes for each full orbit. With practice, this circulation will become smooth and natural, creating a powerful foundation for more advanced techniques. The next essential practice is learning to work with sexual energy during states of arousal. This is where sexual alchemy moves from theory into practical application. When you feel sexual arousal beginning, whether through physical stimulation, fantasy, or simply natural hormonal rhythms, instead of immediately pursuing physical release, pause and redirect the energy. Use the same technique you've been practicing with the microcosmic orbit. Guide the arousal energy up your spine toward your heart and head. This isn't about suppression or denial. It's about conscious redirection. You're taking the same energy that would normally be released through physical orgasm and using it to activate higher energy centers. Initially, this practice might feel challenging or even uncomfortable. Your body and mind are conditioned to follow arousal to its typical conclusion. But with patience and practice, you'll discover that redirecting sexual energy creates states of expanded awareness, enhanced creativity, and profound well-being that far exceed the temporary pleasure of physical release. An important principle to understand is the difference between suppression and transmutation. Suppression involves blocking or denying sexual energy, which creates tension and can lead to various physical and psychological problems. Transmutation involves consciously elevating and redirecting sexual energy toward higher purposes. The energy isn't blocked, it's refined and used more skillfully. Breathing is absolutely crucial for effective sexual alchemy. Shallow, rapid breathing keeps energy locked in the lower centers and makes transmutation difficult. Deep, slow, rhythmic breathing acts as a vehicle for moving energy upward through the body's energy centers. Practice breathing that fills your abdomen first, then your chest, creating a smooth wave-like pattern. On the inhale, visualize drawing energy up your spine. On the exhale, visualize the energy settling into your heart center or continuing its circulation. This breathing pattern, combined with conscious intention, provides the basic mechanism for sexual transmutation. Once you've established proficiency with the foundational practices, you can begin exploring more sophisticated techniques that leverage sexual energy for specific purposes like healing, creativity enhancement, and manifestation acceleration. The practice of dual cultivation represents one of the most powerful approaches to sexual alchemy. This involves working with sexual energy in partnership with another person, creating a synergistic amplification of life force that benefits both practitioners. Unlike ordinary sexual activity, dual cultivation focuses on energy exchange and mutual elevation rather than physical pleasure alone. In dual cultivation, partners sit facing each other, maintaining eye contact and breathing in synchronized patterns. The key is to circulate energy between your individual systems, creating a figure-8 pattern of energy flow. One partner breathes in while visualizing receiving energy from their partner, then breathes out while sending energy back. This creates a continuous circulation that amplifies the life force available to both practitioners. Advanced practitioners can extend this energy exchange throughout extended periods of physical intimacy, maintaining conscious awareness of energy flow rather than fixating on physical sensations alone. This transforms sexual union into a genuine spiritual practice that enhances consciousness rather than depleting energy. The 5-element fusion technique, derived from Taoist alchemy, provides a sophisticated method for transforming emotional energy into refined spiritual essence. This practice recognizes that emotions are simply different expressions of the same underlying life force, and that negative emotions can be consciously transformed into their positive counterparts. Begin by identifying whatever emotion is most prominent in your awareness: fear, anger, sadness, worry, or overexcitement. Each emotion corresponds to a specific organ system and has a particular energetic signature. Fear relates to the kidneys and has a sinking, contracting quality. Anger relates to the liver and has an expanding, explosive quality. Using your breath and intention, gather the energy of this emotion in its corresponding organ location. Then, through specific visualization and energy circulation techniques, transform the emotion into its refined counterpart. Fear becomes wisdom and willpower. Anger becomes loving kindness and compassion. This transformation literally changes the chemistry of your body while refining your emotional energy into spiritual fuel. Sexual energy acts as a catalyst in this process, providing the power necessary for deep emotional transformation. When sexual energy is consciously combined with emotional processing, healing can occur at unprecedented depths and speeds. For manifestation purposes, sexual energy can be combined with clear intention and vivid visualization to create what ancient traditions called magical operations. This isn't fantasy, it's applied consciousness technology based on understanding how mind and energy interact to influence reality. The technique involves building sexual energy to high levels through arousal, without release, then focusing this concentrated energy on a specific desired outcome. The combination of heightened energy, clear intention, and emotional intensity creates a powerful influence on the quantum field that increases the probability of desired outcomes manifesting. The key is maintaining focus on the end result rather than the means of achievement. Visualize your desire as already accomplished, feeling the emotional satisfaction of its fulfillment. The sexual energy provides the power, the visualization provides the direction, and the emotional intensity provides the magnetic attraction that draws circumstances into alignment. This practice should be approached with great responsibility and ethical consideration. The power to influence reality carries corresponding responsibility for the consequences of that influence. Advanced practitioners understand that sexual alchemy works best when aligned with service to the highest good, rather than mere personal gratification. The ultimate goal of sexual alchemy isn't to become a practitioner of esoteric techniques. It's to transform your entire relationship with life force energy, turning every moment into an opportunity for conscious creation and spiritual refinement. This integration requires establishing sustainable daily practices that gradually transform your habitual patterns of energy use. Morning practice provides the foundation for sexual alchemy integration. Upon waking, before engaging with external stimuli, spend 15-20 minutes in conscious energy cultivation. This might include microcosmic orbit circulation, energy gathering in the lower dantian, or simple breath awareness with intention to gather and conserve life force throughout the day. The morning practice establishes energetic coherence that influences your entire day. You're literally programming your energy system to operate from a more conscious, integrated state, rather than reacting unconsciously to external circumstances. Throughout the day, maintain awareness of your energy levels and quality. Notice when your energy feels scattered, depleted, or unconsciously expressed. These moments provide opportunities for conscious energy management. A few conscious breaths combined with internal energy circulation can quickly restore balance and prevent energy leakage. Pay particular attention to your energy during interactions with others. Sexual energy, being magnetic and attractive, significantly influences your presence and impact on others. When your sexual energy is consciously cultivated and contained, you naturally emanate a charismatic presence that draws positive opportunities and relationships. Evening practice focuses on energy conservation and refinement. Rather than dissipating the day's accumulated energy through mindless entertainment or unconscious sexual release, use evening time for energy refinement practices. This might include meditation, gentle energy circulation, or conscious breath work that transforms the day's experiences into spiritual fuel. Dietary considerations also play a role in sexual alchemy. Foods that are overly stimulating, processed, or energetically dense can interfere with subtle energy practices. A diet emphasizing fresh, natural foods with moderate amounts of high-quality proteins supports stable energy levels and enhanced sensitivity to subtle energies. Regular fasting, even short intermittent fasting periods, can significantly enhance sexual alchemy practices. Fasting conserves digestive energy while increasing sensitivity to subtle energies and enhancing mental clarity. Many advanced practitioners incorporate regular fasting as part of their energy cultivation regimen. Physical exercise should be balanced with energy conservation principles. While some physical activity is necessary for health and energy circulation, excessive exercise can deplete the very energies you're working to cultivate. Practices like yoga, tai chi, or qigong provide ideal combinations of physical movement with conscious energy cultivation. Sleep quality becomes crucial for practitioners of sexual alchemy. During sleep, the body naturally processes and integrates energy. Maintaining regular sleep schedules, creating peaceful sleep environments, and practicing energy circulation before sleep all support the body's natural energy refinement processes. The key to successful integration is patience and consistency rather than intensity. Sexual alchemy works through gradual accumulation and refinement of energy over time. Daily practice, even for short periods, is more effective than sporadic, intensive efforts. As you develop proficiency in sexual alchemy practices, you'll begin experiencing transformations that extend far beyond the practices themselves. These changes represent the natural result of working consciously with your fundamental life force, rather than unconsciously dissipating it. The first transformation most practitioners notice is a significant increase in overall energy and vitality. Instead of experiencing the typical energy drains that characterize modern life, you'll find yourself operating from a deeper reservoir of sustainable energy. This isn't nervous energy or artificial stimulation. It's the steady, powerful energy that comes from conscious cultivation of life force. Mental clarity and creative capacity typically increase dramatically. Sexual energy, when refined and circulated through higher energy centers, literally nourishes the brain and nervous system. You may find yourself accessing creative insights, problem-solving abilities, and intuitive perceptions that were previously unavailable. Emotional stability and resilience also improve significantly. The same energy circulation practices that refine sexual energy also balance emotional energies, creating greater emotional intelligence and the ability to remain centered during challenging circumstances. Perhaps most importantly, your capacity for genuine intimacy and love expands. When sexual energy is refined rather than merely expressed, it transforms into what mystics call divine love, a state of unconditional appreciation for existence itself. This transformation naturally enhances all your relationships while reducing dependency on others for emotional fulfillment. The magnetism and presence that develop through sexual alchemy practice become powerful tools for positive influence and service. People naturally feel drawn to individuals who have learned to consciously cultivate their life force, creating opportunities for meaningful contribution and leadership. Advanced practitioners often report experiences that transcend ordinary consciousness entirely. These might include profound states of unity consciousness, spontaneous healing abilities, prescient dreams, or direct perception of subtle energy patterns. While these experiences shouldn't be pursued as goals in themselves, they represent natural developments of consciousness expansion through sexual alchemy. The ultimate fruition of sexual alchemy practice is what ancient traditions called spiritual realization or enlightenment. This represents the complete integration of sexual energy with spiritual consciousness, creating a state of being where personal will aligns perfectly with universal will. In this state, manifestation becomes effortless because there's no separation between desire and fulfillment, between self and cosmos. This level of mastery typically requires years or even decades of consistent practice, but its benefits begin manifesting immediately. Every step along the path brings tangible improvements in vitality, consciousness, and creative capacity. Journey of sexual alchemy ultimately leads to the recognition that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe. You are that creative force, individualized and given the opportunity to consciously participate in cosmic creation. This recognition transforms existence from a struggle for survival into a dance of conscious co-creation with the intelligence that moves the stars. Remember, sexual alchemy isn't about becoming someone different than who you are. It's about becoming who you truly are when your deepest creative essence is awakened and consciously expressed. The same energy that creates worlds is flowing through you right now, waiting for your conscious recognition and skillful direction. The path of sexual alchemy offers nothing less than complete transformation, not just of your circumstances, but of your very identity as a conscious being. The practices shared here provide the foundation for this transformation, but the journey itself is unique for each practitioner. Trust the process, maintain consistent practice, and prepare to discover capabilities and states of consciousness that most people never imagined possible. The same force that brought you into existence is available to recreate your life according to your highest vision. The only requirement is your conscious participation in this ancient art of transformation. Your journey into sexual alchemy begins now with your next breath. Your next moment of conscious attention to the incredible creative force that animates your being. The path is open, the techniques are available, and the only limit is your commitment to your own transformation. The ancients preserved this knowledge through millennia of suppression because they understood its power to liberate human consciousness from every limitation. That same liberation is available to you today through the conscious cultivation of the most powerful force in existence, the creative energy of life itself.